Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Today we'll be reading from Surah 80 to Surah 91. Surah 80, Abasa. He frowned. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, the Prophet frowned and turned away, because there came to him the blind man interrupting. But what could tell you but that perchance he might grow in purity, or that he might receive admonition and the teaching might profit him? As to one who regards himself as self-sufficient, to him does you attend, though it is no blame to you if he grow not in purity. But as to him who came to you striving earnestly, and with fear in his heart, of him you were unmindful. By no means should it be so, for it is indeed a message of instruction. Therefore let whoso will keep in remembrance, it is in book held greatly in honor, exalted in dignity, kept pure and holy, written by the hands of scribes, honorable and pious and just. Woe to man! What has made him reject Allah? From what stuff has he created him? From a sperm drop he has created him, and then molds him in due proportions. Then does he make his path smooth for him. Then he causes him to die, and put him in the grave. Then when it is his will, he will raise him up again. By no means has he fulfilled what Allah has commanded him. Then let man look at his food, and how we provide it. For what we pour forth water in abundance, and we split the earth in fragments, and produce therein corn, and grapes and nutritious plants, and olives and dates, and enclosed gardens dense with lofty trees, and fruits and fodder, for use and convenience to you and your cattle. At length, when there comes the deafening noise, that day shall a man flee from his own brother, and from his mother and his father, and from his wife and his children. Each of them that day will have enough concern of his own to make him unmindful to the others. Some faces that day will be beaming, laughing, rejoicing, and other faces that day will be dust-stained, blackness will cover them. Such will be the rejectors of Allah, the doers of iniquity. Surah 81, At-Takwir, the folding up. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, when the sun with its spacious light is folded up, when the stars fall, losing their luster, when the mountains vanish like a mirage, when the she-camels 10 months with young are left unattended, when the wild beasts are herded together in the humane habitations, when the oceans boil over with a swell, when the souls are sorted out, being joined like with like, when the female infant buried alive is questioned for what crime she was killed, when the scrolls are laid open, when the sky is unveiled, when the blazing fire is kindled to fierce heat, and when the garden is brought near, then shall each soul know what it has put forward. So verily I call witness to planets that recede, go straight or hide. And in the night, if it as it dissipates, and the dawn as it breathes away the darkness, verily this is the word of the most honorable messenger, endued with power, held in honor by the Lord of the throne, with authority there, and faithful to his trust. And, O people, your companion is not one possessed, and without doubt he saw himself in the clear horizon, neither does he withhold grudgingly a knowledge of the unseen, nor is it the word of Satan accursed. Then where do you wander? Verily this is no less than a messenger to all the worlds, with benefit to whoever among you wills to go straight. But you shall not will except as Allah wills, the cherisher of the worlds. Surah 82, Al-Infitar, the cleaving asunder. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. When the sky is cleft asunder, when the stars are scattered, when the oceans are suffered to burst forth, when the graves are turned upside down, then shall each soul know what it has sent forth and what is kept back. O man, what has seduced you from your Lord most beneficent? Him who created you fashioned you in due proportion and gave you just bias. In whatever form he wills, he does put you together. No, but you reject right and judgment. But verily over you are appointed angels to protect you, kind and honorable, writing down your deeds. They know and understand all that you do. As for the righteous, they will be in a bliss, and the wicked they will be in fire, which they will enter on the day of judgment, and they will not be able to keep away therefrom. And what will explain to you what the day of judgment is? Again, what will explain to you what the day of judgment is? It will be the day when no soul shall have power to do anything for another, for that command that day will be wholly with Allah. Surah 83, Al-Mutaffifin, the dealers in fraud. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, woe to those that deal in fraud, those who, when they have received a measure from men, exact full measure, But when they have to give by measure or weight to men, give less than due. Do not think that they will be called out on account on a mighty day, a day when all mankind will stand before the Lord of the worlds. No, surely the record of the wicked is preserved in Sijin. And what will explain to you what is Sijin? There is a register fully inscribed. Woe that day to those that deny the day of judgment, and none can deny it but the transgressors beyond bounds and the sinner. When our signs are rehearsed to him, he says, Tales of the ancients. By no means, but on their hearts is the stain of the ill which they do. Verily from the light of their Lord that day will they be veiled. Further will they enter the fire of hell. Further it will be said to them, This is the reality which you rejected as false. Now verily the record of the righteous is preserved in Ilion. And what will explain to you what Ilion is? There is a register fully inscribed, to which bear witness those nearest to Allah. Truly the righteous will be in bliss, on thrones of dignity, while they command a sight of all things. You will recognize in their faces the beaming brightness of bliss. Their thirst will be slaked with pure wine sealed. The seal thereof will be musk. And for this let those aspire who have aspirations. With it will be given a mixture of tasnism, a spring from which waters thereof drink those nearest to Allah. Those in sin used to laugh at those who believed, and whenever they passed by them used to wink at each other in mockery. And when they returned to their own people, they would return jesting. And whenever they saw them, they would say, Behold, these are the people truly astray. But they had not been sent as keepers over them. But on this day the believers will laugh at the unbelievers. On thrones, raised couches, will they command a sight of all things. Will not the unbelievers have been paid back for what they did? Surah 84. Al-Inshiqaq, the rendering asunder. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, when the sky is rent asunder, and obeys to the command of its Lord, and it needs do so, and when the earth is flattened out, and casts forth what is within it, and becomes clean empty, and obeys to the command of its Lord, and it must needs do so, then will it become home the full reality. O you man, verily you are ever toiling on towards your Lord, painfully toiling, but you shall meet him. Then he who is given his record in his right hand, soon will his account be taken by an easy reckoning, and he will turn to his people rejoicing. But he who is given the record behind his back will soon cry for perdition, and he will enter a blazing fire. Truly did he go about among his people rejoicing. Truly did he think that he would not have to return to us. No, no, for his Lord was ever watchful of him. So I do call to witness the ruddy glow of sunset, the night and its homing, and the moon in her fullness. You shall surely travel from stage to stage. What then is the matter with them that they believe not? And when the Quran is read to them, they fall not prostrate. But on the contrary, the unbelievers reject it. But Allah has full knowledge of what they secrete in their breasts. So announce to them a grievous chastisement, except to those who believe and work righteous deeds. For them is a reward that will never fail. Surah 85. The Buruj, the Zodiacal signs. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, by the sky with its constellations, by the promised day of judgment, by one that witnesses and subject to the witness. Woe to the makers of the pit of fire, fire supplied abundantly with fuel. Behold, they sat over against the fire, and they witnessed all that they were doing against the believers, and they ill-treated them for no reason other than they believed in Allah, exalted in power, worthy of all praise. Him to whom belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and Allah is witness to all things. Those who persecute or draw into temptation the believers, men and women, and do not turn in repentance, will have chastisement of hell. They will have the chastisement of the burning fire. For those who believe and do righteous deeds will be in the gardens beneath which rivers flow. That is the great triumph, the fulfillment of all desires. Truly strong is the grip and power of your Lord. It is He who creates from the very beginning, and He can restore life, and He is all forgiving, full of loving kindness. Lord of the throne of glory, doer without let of all that He intends, has a story reached you of the forces of Pharaoh and the Thamud, and yet the unbelievers persist in rejecting the truth. But Allah does encompass them from behind. No, this is a glorious Quran inscribed in a tablet preserved. Surah 86. Al-Tariq, the morning star, the night comer. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the sky and the night visitant therein. And what will explain to you what the night visitant is? It is the star of piercing brightness. There is no soul, but has a protector over it. Now let man think but from what he has created from a drop emitted, proceeding from between the backbone and the ribs. Surely Allah is able to bring him back to life. The day that all things secret will be tested, man will have no power and no helper. By the firmament which gives recurring rain, and by the earth which opens out for the gushing of springs or the sprouted of vegetation. Behold, this is the word that distinguishes good from evil. It is not a thing for amusement. As for them, they are but plotting a scheme, and I am planning a scheme. Therefore grant a delay to the unbelievers, give respite to them gently for a while. Surah 87, Al-Allah, the Most High. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Glorify the name of your guardian Lord Most High, who has created and further given order and proportion, who has ordained laws and granted guidance, and who brings out the green and luscious pasture, and then does make it but swarthy stubble. By degrees shall we teach you the message, so you shall not forget, except as Allah wills. For He knows what is manifest and what is hidden, and we will make it easy for you to follow the simple path. Therefore give admonition in case the admonition profits the hearer. The admonition will be received by those who fear Allah, but it will be avoided by those most unfortunate ones, who will enter the great fire, in which they will neither die nor live. But those will prosper who purify themselves, and glorify the name of their guardian Lord and pray. Now you prefer the life of this world, and the hereafter is better and more enduring, and this is the books of the earliest revelation, the books of Abraham and Moses. Surah 88, Al-Ghashiyah, the overwhelming event. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. Has the story reached you of the overwhelming event? Some faces that day will be humiliated, laboring hard, weary, and while they enter the blazing fire, the while they are given to drink of a boiling hot spring, no food will be there for them but a bitter dairy, which will neither nourish nor satisfy hunger. Other faces that day will be joyful, pleased with their striving in the garden on high, where they shall hear no word of vanity. Therein there will be a bubbling spring, therein will be couches of dignity raised on high, goblets placed ready, and cushions set in rows, and rich carpets all spread out. Do they not look at the camels how they are made, and at the sky how it is raised high, and at the mountains how they are fixed firm, and at the earth how it is spread out? Therefore you do remind, for you are one to remind, you are not one to manage men's affairs. But if any turn away and reject Allah, Allah will punish him with a mighty punishment. For to us there will be a return. Then it will be for us to call out them to account. Surah 89, Al-Fajr, the Dawn. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. By the break of day, by the 10 nights, by the even and odd contrasted, and by the nights when it passes away, is there not an ease and a duration or evidence for those who understand? Do you not see how your Lord has dealt with the Ad people, and the city of Aram with lofty pillars, the like of which were not produced in all the land? And with the Thamud people who cut out huge rocks in the valley, and with Pharaoh, lord of stakes. All these transgressed beyond bounds in the lands, and heaped therein mischief on mischief. Therefore did your Lord pour on them a scourge of diverse chastisements, for your Lord is ever watchful. Now as for man, when his Lord tries him, giving him honor and gifts, then he says, puffed up, my Lord has honored me. But when he tries him, restricting his substance for him, then he says in despair, my Lord has humiliated me. No, but you honor not the orphans, nor do you encourage one another to feed the poor. And you devour inheritance all with greed, and you love wealth with inordinate love. No, when the earth is pounded to powder, and your Lord comes, and his angels rank upon rank, and hell that day is brought face to face, on that day will man remember. But how will that remembrance profit him? He will say, ah, would that had I sent forth good deeds for this my future life. For that day his chastisement will be none else can conflict, and his bonds will be such as none other can bind. To the righteous soul will be said, O you soul, in complete rest and satisfaction, come back to your Lord, well pleased yourself, and well pleased unto him. Enter them among my devotees. Yes, enter my heaven. Surah 90, Al-Balad, the city. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. No, I do call to witness this city, and you are free to inhabit the city. And of the ties of parent and child, verily we have created man to toil and struggle. Does he think that none has power over him? He may say boastfully, Wealth have I squandered in abundance. Does he think that none beholds him? Have we not made for him a pair of eyes and a tongue and a pair of lips, and shown him the two highways? But he has made no haste on the path that is steep. And what will explain to you the path that is steep? It is freeing the bondman or giving of food in a day of privation to the orphans with claims of relationship, or to the indignant down in the dust. Then will be he of those who believe and enjoin patience, constancy, and self-restraint, and enjoin deeds of kindness and compassion. Such are the companions of the right hand. But those who reject our signs, they are of the unhappy companions of the left hand. On them will be fire vaulted all round. Surah 91. Ash-Shams, the sun. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, by the sun in his glorious splendor, by the moon as she follows him, by the day as it shows up the sun's glory, by the night as it conceals it, by the firmament and its wonderful structure, by the earth and its wide expanse, by the soul and the proportion and order given to it, and its enlightenment as to its wrongs and its rights. Truly he succeeds that purifies it, and he fails that corrupts it. The Thamud people rejected their prophet through their inordinate wrongdoing. Behold, the most wicked man amongst them was deputed for impiety. But the apostle of Allah said to them, It is a she-camel of Allah, and bar her not from having her drink. Then they rejected him as a false prophet, and they hamstrung her, so their Lord, on account of their crime, obliterated their traces and made them equal in destruction high and low. And for him is no fear of its consequences. Thank you for listening to this video. If you like it, please like and subscribe to my channel.